Clement Attlee was the British Prime Minister when India gained independence. He resigned as Prime Minister in 1951 and served as leader of the opposition in Britain until 1955. After that, he left active politics and visited India again in 1956. Arriving in Bengal as part of his visit, he was received by P.B. Chakrabarti, the Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court and then acting Governor of Bengal. His accommodation was arranged at Chakrabarti's official residence. P.B. Chakrabarti later described his conversation with Attlee in a letter to the publishers of R.C. Majumdar's History of Bengal. The letter became a major controversy in the name of anti-Gandhi sentiment. Attlee laughed sarcastically and answered in one word, minimal, at Chakrabarti's question of Gandhi's influence behind the British decision to withdraw from India. Only that part of the letter was discussed later. But more important in that letter was the part where Attlee explained the real reasons that led to the termination of the British Raj in India. The main reasons he gave were as follows. As a result of the heavy military and economic exhaustion inflicted by World War II, it became impossible for Britain to sustain colonies in many parts of the world. When the pathetic defeat of the Quit India movement and the inaction of the Congress pushed the Indian independence movement into the abyss of despair. Then the INA trials and the Rhine rebellion revived the Indian aspiration for independence. But he said the most important reason was that the British Indian soldiers and sailors lost their allegiance to the British Queen due to the activities of the Indian National Army formed under the leadership of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Then Britain realized that they could no longer remain in India by relying on military force. Subhash Chandra Bose. It was the name that still haunted the British ruler when he spoke of India's freedom struggle after 10 long years. This was the main point to be discussed in Chakrabarti's letter. The fact is that even before the formation of the INA, Subhash Chandra Bose had emerged as the most popular and accepted leader in the country. Netaji was elected national president of the Congress in 1939, defeating Gandhiji's candidate Pattabhi Sitarama. On the same, Gandhi said, "This defeat is more mine than Pattabhi's." However, Netaji, who could not even form a party working committee due to non-cooperation of the Gandhi-Nehru faction, and he had to resign without even completing his term. When Gandhi-Nehru's faction rejected his demand for a stronger offensive against Britain in the wake of the declaration of World War II, he first went to Russia and later to Germany and finally Japan to seek support for the war against Britain. Yet he had great love and respect for Gandhi in his mind. In 1944, he addressed Gandhi on the Azad Hind radio address from Singapore, saying, "Father of the nation, we are ready for the final struggle for the liberation of India. May you bless us. Father of the nation." Subhash Chandra Bose was the first to describe Gandhi as such. But do you know how Gandhi described Bose? While Japan conceded defeat by consecutive nuclear attacks, the INA soldiers had no choice but to surrender to the British. Even then, Netaji was not ready for it. Later, a report came to know that Netaji was killed when his plane crashed while trying to cross from Japan. In response to this news, Gandhi said, "Subhash Bose is dead. Undoubtedly he is a patriot, though misguided. Misguided patriot." Yes, Netaji's goal was more important than the road. He was ready to take any path for his goal of liberating India. He did not think that to reduce his patriotism and select a beautiful path. Therefore, he was unable to gain British friendship and take part in the freedom struggle by remaining loyal to them. So he could not discover India by sitting in the dummy prisons by drinking tea and smoking cigarettes served by the whites. He could not easily walk to the post of Prime Minister. He could not write a Bharat Ratna in his own name. His ways were always difficult and deadly. As Japan withdrew from Burma during World War II, INA soldiers were isolated in battle and they had to travel long distances by land to reach a safe location in Bangkok. The Japanese army arranged a vehicle for him. But he refused it. And Netaji walked along with his soldiers during that long march called the epic retreat to safety. Below the flying bomber planes of Allied power. Through the areas dominated by the Burmese army. In the midst of Chinese guerrillas hunting down and torturing Japanese troops. On that journey where danger lurked at every step, despite being surrounded by nothing but negative factors, and yet he led his soldiers through them. Such were the ways of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. The greatness of his cause, and his immense commitment to it, certainly validated those ways. That is why when the surrendering INA soldiers were brought back to India in 1945 and executed in public at the Red Fort, the entire Indian nation took to the streets in protest. It was the public outcry against the INA trials that brought back the excitement of the national struggle, which was almost completely tied up. It was this outrage that prompted even the sailors who were upset at the mass decommissioning after the World War to wage a public war against Britain. That is how the Navy, Britain's greatest power of all time, turns against Britain. In 1946, about 20,000 sailors in 70 warships began to revolt in solidarity with INA soldiers. They pulled down the Union Jack on the ships and hoisted the tricolor flag instead. The Royal Indian Navy changed its name to the Indian National Navy. Soon after, the Air Force declared riots in Marine Drive and Andheri, announcing support for the naval strike, which the British called Rhin Mutiny, and what we call Naval Uprising. The Army's Gorkha Regiment refused when ordered to shoot the sailors in Karachi. Although the revolt was later suppressed, the British were convinced that they could no longer remain in India by relying on military force. It was that naval revolution that led to India's independence, which greatly reduced our history books. Clement Attlee himself says that the biggest factor behind the decision to withdraw from India was the loss of confidence in the military. We need to remember Netaji's own words, "One person may die for an idea, but after him the idea will be reborn as 1,000 people." Take a look. When the Indian sailors prepared for battle with pictures of Subhash Chandra Bose and the slogan, Netaji Zindabad. When they refused to surrender in front of the warplanes which were announcing submit or perish. When they refused to surrender in front of warships that were ready to shoot. Then according to all official records, Subhash Chandra Bose was dead. But his ideology was reborn as thousands of warriors in the Indian Ocean. It was his ideology that led this country to independence. Yes, it was Subhash Chandra Bose who led us to freedom. What did we give back to that man who lived, died, hid, stood out, and fought for this country? However, the same Gandhiji whom he called the father of the nation is what we still consider and call the father of the nation.